All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Real Estate Investing with Alex Deacon, the property management side of things. It's a special little side thing there, as I stuttered for a second for some reason.
Yeah, why
you
stutter?
It's the holiday
Does my
stutter.
presence make you nervous?
It does. It's when our auras clash.
It should.
It's overwhelming.
Yes.
Listen, today what we're going to be talking about while we just sit here and obviously, I guess, just make jokes on each other.
Make no sense.
Absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about today, other than the Earth being flat and vortexes like we did last time, we are going to talk about how you are going to interview your next property management company. So we talk a lot about property management, what to look for, but we never really broke down into maybe some great questions to ask and some personalized questions on that to look for. So, Alex, why don't you take it away, good sir?
What'd you say?
A little bit of nothing.
I wasn't even listening.
No, but I don't think anybody is when I talk.
No,
they listen for you, not me.
We did a frequently asked questions podcast. I'm not sure if this is gonna be like the same, but whatever. I guess once you start listening,
It's a good refresher. We'll probably catch different
So
avenues.
it's frequently asked questions. So, because I wanted to talk about just to help a property owner or investor ask the right questions, right? And just listen. Sometimes you just ask and then shut up and listen. That's why God gave you 2 ears. That's if you believe in God. He gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Because you should listen more and not talk so much.
So regardless of what you believe in, we got 2 ears.
Yes. So some of the questions, I think you should ask is, so I guess the most important, because the one I get is, well, what do you guys do? That's just a horrible question. What do we do?
It's such an open-ended question.
Next question.
Yep.
Okay. What do you guys charge? What is your management fee? We get that all the time. What does that matter? Okay. And I'd probably ask the same question. Yeah, what's this going to cost me? Because I'm always a bottom line guy. I'm like, yeah, if I'm buying something at the hardware store, or they're trying to sell me, like I bought a guitar the other night and an amplifier, and then this guy's going on about the extended warranty, and I'm like, oh, cover it. I said, how much is it? I just want to know how much it is. Okay, so it's a $500 guitar, and then you want me to buy a $250 extended warranty. I will take my chances.
Yeah.
If it breaks in 3 years, I'm just going to buy a new guitar. Okay? Because it was like I walked out of the Guitar Center, early Christmas present for me. I spent $1,000 on a guitar and amp and some chords and stuff. And I think if I would have bought all the warranty stuff, it was going to be like $1,500.
Holy cow.
I'm like, that is insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a bottom line guy, so I fully understand. But if you just ask, if I said to you, well, the management fee is going to be 10%, then you're like totally turned off of everything else I have to say. Because all you're thinking about is 10%. I know I talked to the other company; they'd do it for 7%. Well, ask yourself this: do they know their numbers? Okay, do they price the properties correctly? What's their experience level in the industry? Do they have the support staff that they can go to? Like, I am the support staff essentially. So all my agents and property managers, they can come to me for questions that they don't know the answers to. And a couple really good examples there are, just recently we had a gentleman, we had his house rented. Fantastic application. Okay? Great credit score. I'm just ballparking this. They wanted to move in November 1st. But we approved the application like September 1st. Okay. He didn't want to wait 2 months. October, November.
Right.
Now understand this, I might not either, but understand the background of this is we've been trying to rent this since like August.
Right.
Because he started too high. The quality of the rehab that he did was not the greatest. And now we're reduced to $1,200 because we started at $1,400. Now we're at $1,200. And guess what's coming after October?
Winter.
November, December,
yeah.
winter. I said, do you really? So they didn't let me know that he was not going to rent to this person because I approved the app. In this case, they should have copied me in an email. I would have talked this guy into renting. I would have, and not talked him in because I wanted to make the money to rent it. Talked him in because it's a damn good decision.
Right.
So now, guess what? It's December 20th.
Yep.
It's not rented.
Ooh.
December 20th. You know how much money that costs that gentleman? So if you don't have, if the staff that the management company you're hiring doesn't have the staff that they can go to for the answers, then what good are they? In this case, I really was not happy with my staff because I said, you need to come to me because I can help, help me help you. Right? Like the movie. Help me help you. So I'm helping the property manager who's in turn helping the owner. So if they'd have got me involved, this owner would have saved a couple $1,000s. Now, we all make mistakes, okay? Period. If you want the perfect company who never makes mistakes, it's not going to happen. But this owner should have taken that application, but this owner doesn't know any better. They're not in the business like me.
Right.
So that's why you hire us, so we can consult with us and we can give you our opinion. Whether you want to run with it, it's up to you where you want to take it. So you got to ask the questions to the management company. Who do you? What kind of experience do you have? Who do you go to when there's a serious problem? Like, if I'm talking to you, Bob, I know, Bob, you're a property manager, but Bob, who do you go to when there's a really big problem? Oh, and Bob stumbles and said, well, I don't, what do you mean? I don't know. Our owner lives in, Puerto Rico 6 months out of the year. He doesn't want to be bothered. No, I'm the owner of the company. I'm here every day. And I'm an email away. I'm always checking my emails. If I need to get involved, I'm involved. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let's pay that guy 7%. Mm-hmm. And we're at 9%. And in a couple units at $800 a month, that's $1,600. So over 2%, which is $32, you're going to choose that other company? Because the question you asked was, what do you charge? You didn't ask any of the important questions.
Right.
Okay? So that's the thing you need to think about. What is their vacancy rate? Ask them that. Now, anybody can lie. Anybody can say, oh yeah, we're about 1 or 2%. But most people, if you ask them that on the fly, like, here's one way you can get around that. You ask them that first. Like, you want a quick answer. You don't want, if they fumble around, then they're making shit up, possibly. Mm-hmm. Then, maybe at a later date, maybe the next day you talk to them again or in an email and ask them, okay, here's a couple more questions. What's your vacancy rate? And if their vacancy rate was 6% that day and the day you talked to them was 3%, he's caught them in a lie.
Right.
Because I can tell you right off the bat, I look at how many vacancies we have. We have about 30 right now. We manage 600 units. That's 5% vacancy. And the 5% vacancy doesn't, that includes properties that are maybe we just took on, so they're new. That might include properties that are way overpriced. That might include properties that may or may not be ready to be rented. So our net vacancy rate could be actually less than that. But that's where we're running right about now. Another important question would be, how do you handle your repairs? Who does that? How do you keep our costs down? How do you monitor that? How's the quality of your contractors who work for you? Do you charge for repairs? So with our company, we have a separate company that handles all the repairs. Every repair goes through that company. We make money on every repair. Okay. 90% of all management companies make money on repairs. Some of them literally just upcharge the repair. They do. It's just the way it is. We actually have our own subcontractors that we use. We keep them busy. They give us good prices. Their quality control is good. Otherwise, we wouldn't use them. Right. So, how do you handle repairs? And if they're charging a very low management fee, you have to look at. I've heard many horror stories about some management companies where they're just making up erroneous bills, and then because we had them come over to us and they'd be like, yeah, they'd just send me a statement at the end of the month. Have this $2,000 bill on it, not even broken down. What was the $2,000 for? Oh, well, if you want me to break down every bill, then I won't manage your property. What kind of answer is that?
Right, yeah.
Break that bill down. I want to know what I'm paying for.
Right.
We don't have that. We have all of our bills online.
Itemized.
You can go on your portal, look at the bill, see what it was for. If you have any questions on it, you feel where you're overcharged, I will look at it and say, you know what? That was a little heavy. Let's refund them $200. Mm-hmm. You do it all the time. But if you're the kind of owner that just comes back every bill, and you're beating me up, there's something wrong, and it's not on our end because no other owners are doing that. But we're always refunding owners money if they're not happy. But again, if it's an ongoing occurrence, then we're probably not a good fit for you, and you have to go, and we'll move on.
It's a transparency.
Yes. So how do you handle repairs? How do you handle your evictions? What is your eviction process? Do you have an attorney that goes to them? Do you go to them? Do you charge for them? Who handles the appeals? So once you win an eviction appeal or lose, it's usually win, but then that tenant has a right to appeal, and that goes down to the courthouse, which is a 3-month delay. How do you monitor? Is that tenant paying rent to the court during the appeal process? Because the tenant has to pay rent to the court. But unfortunately, again, these are tenant-friendly laws. Mm-hmm. You, the owner or the management company, have to check with the court to make sure they're paying. If they're not paying, then you got to file some supersedious something or other, which I don't know the term for, but our attorneys handle it. But you have to file this thing, and it says, hey, the tenant stopped paying, therefore the appeal is off, and then we can file for possession and then kick them out, essentially. What other questions do I get that are they're important, but they're not like top priority? What do you charge to fill a vacancy? Yeah. Okay, so if a company's telling you if they're going to fill a vacancy for, let's say your unit's $1,000, and they're going to charge you half a month's rent to fill a vacancy, you're probably not getting the best service. Okay? Because they're not paying their leasing agent enough. It's just, at the end of the day, there's just not enough meat on the bone for that leasing agent to make a living, property management company to get a little piece of it, and for the property management company to be profitable. So if you get someone who's giving you lower management fees, or we'll rent your units for 1/2 of what the rent is, they're getting you somewhere else. Okay? And you're not getting the quality. So how we handle, I think we did a whole thing on how we lease. I'm looking here. Increase and evict. Problem tenants, finding new tenants. Yeah,
there we go.
We probably did one on this. But our process of finding new tenants is pretty detailed. And in this day and age, with the tenant-friendly laws, and now you have the emotional support animals, and you can appeal so much easier now than you could 7-8 years ago. It's becoming harder and harder to get a good tenant. That's why it might take a little longer. But doing your due diligence up front and getting a good tenant, or the best tenant application you can, sure beats the alternative, which is having to evict the tenant. They can appeal. They know the process. It can go on for 6 months. And in the meantime, they could be doing damage to the property. Right. We had one tenant appeal, and it was my own property, and I got duped. I mean, I looked at the application. I thought it was all good. It was fraudulent. She used she totally knew the system. Oh. Totally knew the system. Cost me a year's worth of rent. And fortunately for me, she did very little damage. Because a year's worth of rent is like $10,000 here. Maybe a little bit more. She could have easily did $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 worth of damage. Right?
Yeah.
Easily. And
wow.
I could go after her, but
more, really,
we're going to have to go over to this lady who knows the system. And basically it was like in a C area, so she wasn't making huge amounts of money anyway. So chances of me ever collecting, but slim and none. So those bad things do happen, regardless how good your management company and how good your processes are. Because it happens to me. Yeah, it was my own
can't control
problem.
the uncontrollables. Yeah, that's eventually going to happen.
But usually, when we don't circumvent the process and we screen our tenants properly, usually, for sure, if you had a chart and it showed when you circumvented the process of finding tenants and when you didn't, the chart would show a much better percentage rate of tenants paying and not having to evict them. because you used the due process and you did the checks and balances versus just winging it. And I think when you're paying half a month's rent, you're winging it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Now, if you're renting, if the management company, if you ask them, well, what do you charge to lease the property? And they say, well, how much is your rent? That's a good question, because if your rent is $1,500 or $2,000 per unit, we'll work with you on the finder. So we're not going to charge you a full month's rent to rent a $2,000 house. That's insane.
Right.
You know, we might charge you a flat fee or a percentage. Like we might charge you 70% of the first month's rent. Or if you have 20 of those units, we might just charge you a flat fee of $1,000 per unit to find a tenant. So it's not always clear cut and dry. It depends what your portfolio looks like and what your average rent is.
So in a way, and what else? What are some good questions?
I mean, there are so many. But if you go on to, dhrea.com and click on free learning, and if you go to the property management side of the podcast, a lot of these questions will be answered. So like how we find tenants, how we evict tenants. And if you listen to this podcast and then you listen to all the other ones, you'll probably be able to put some really good questions together and get a really good idea of how to interview a management company. So you can choose the best one. We might not be the best. I'm just saying, this is free information to help you understand what we do every day and help me to convey the message to you on how to articulate what you're looking for in a management company. And then, again, shut up and listen. Let them answer the questions. And sometimes answer the question more than once, because if you get 2 different answers every time, you know they're just making this stuff.
Right. And the reason why we're going through this too, ladies and gentlemen, is because this is to help you avoid asking the mundane questions that, like Alex was talking about before, the open-ended questions that you really can't answer in a minute. And, you know, not to sound like time is money and money is time, but it really is. So when you can skip past all of the generic questions that are just a dime a dozen, and you can really ask better quality questions, it's better. You're going to get better answers. It's going to be better business, and you're probably going to have somebody that's more inclined to do business with you because you've saved them. They've realized you've saved them. You've done your homework, and you've saved them a mountain of time. So,
yeah, I think we covered it. I think this is a good podcast. I think this will help. Good. This will help the person that owns their first property, or the person that owns 20 units and maybe they've been managing for a long time and now they just want to turn it over. These questions are going to be very helpful. And listen to the podcast, because all this information is going to do nothing but educate you and help you become a better landlord, better business person, and hopefully more profitable.
And you're in the soft-spoken Alex Deacon today. Alex, where can we find you and how can people contact you?
Alex at alexdeacon.com is my email, and then the dhrea.com website, and you can also call me.
There you go. And you'll
scream out your window, Alex!
Yeah, smoke signals, you know?
Yeah.
So that, the old telephones with the string.
We can do that. Pony Express, too.
We can figure out a way. And you can find us all over the place online now. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Deacon Hoover. You'll find us there. For all of these podcasts, obviously go to dhrea.com, the free learning section, but you can also find them in Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts now, Google Play Podcast. We're on Spreaker. We're on a lot of different podcasting websites. So search Deacon Hoover or just Alex Deacon in those search engines. You'll be able to find us that way as well. Like all of those outlets, follow us, even though that sounds creepy in 2018. Do all the things that social media tells you to do. But that's the best way to contact us. Send us some ideas for the show. Send us your feedback on the show, what you guys think. Make sure you check out all the properties on dhrea.com. When it comes to property management, hit up MACE Property Management at pittsburghpropertymanagement.com. And Alex, I think I got all the cheap plugs in for this week. So, as we finish up our last podcast of 2018, we'd like to thank everybody out there that has taken time out of their schedules and out of their lives, no matter what you've been doing, to listen to our broadcast. We got, I think, 30-some hours in. We got a lot of hours in. We're like 8 hours, but we got a lot of episodes in this year. So if you've listened to even just a couple of them, we thank you so much for taking time out. We got a lot of great stuff coming for you in 2019. Happy New Year, and we will see you next time from Deacon Hoover Real Estate Advisors.